What's going on, folks, and welcome into Out of Your Falcon Mind. My name is John, one half of Out of Your Falcon Mind. My co-host Mike not with me today. It's okay, just doing a quick video on some potential wide receiver targets that we may have in free agency coming up. Here in going to start just over a month, right? First of all, look, if y'all are new to the channel, welcome in. We are an Atlanta Falcons podcast. We go live twice a week during the season, previewing the upcoming game and recapping the game. Just stay tuned to the channel so you know when those days are. Typically they're Thursday and Monday, but that could change based on my kids' baseball schedule. So never know there. Also in the off season, we're at least once a week live. Sometimes more, depends on the news cycle, what's going on with the team. But again, just keep your eyes on the channel. So if you're new, if you're not new, whatever, if you're here watching, man, we much appreciate you. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. That's just keep us growing in the right direction. And also number two, if you haven't checked out the 10 stages of being a Falcons fan, it should be pinned on our homepage on our YouTube. Go check that out. It's my co-host Mike, his best work still. It's one of his first things he ever did outside of our show for the channel, and it is you'll love it. You'll be able to relate with every one of them, and you'll laugh your ass off. It's just have a sense of humor. You'll enjoy it, I promise. And drop a like on that video, comment too. Just, keep that thing going because it's worth it. I promise you, it's worth your time. All right, I think I've covered everything there. All right, so let's get into this. Wide receiver free agent targets for our Falcons. So like I said, free agency starts March 13th. We'll see how many of these videos I can get done. I'm going to try to hit each position group, well, not each position group, but like at least position groups that we're definitely going to add to, which could be a lot, but we'll see how many I can get to between now and then. I just decided to start with receivers because we only got one in the room really, and that's Drake London. That's the only one under contract. So I just look, there's over 100 free agents for wide receivers. I'm clearly not going over all those. I picked about 12, and it's just, look, it all depends on money, right? We're going to have a decent chunk to spend in free agency or just to have in general, right? That we're under the cap. And we'll have more when we release some guys and probably, don't pick up contracts or whatever for some returning guys. But regardless, it's going to come down to if they want to really go spend on a number 2 receiver. And that's if they consider Drake a number 1, which, I think Drake's probably a number 1. He's performed really well his first 2 years in the league with really subpar quarterback play from Mariota, from Desmond, from Taylor, and questionable offensive play calling as well. So I mean, if y'all don't know, he surpassed Julio Jones's consecutive season record for number of receptions. Did it very quietly, again, because our offense was so stagnant for the most part of better part of 2 years, 3 years. So that may be a surprise to you, but I can see him as number 1. He's got the big body. He's got that Mike Evans type of, body to him. He should only get better the more years he's in the league. Contested catches are unbelievable. I just want to see him with a better quarterback and maybe a better offense and see what can happen there. So, but it doesn't matter what I think. If Raheem and Zach Robinson and staff see him as a number 1, then you're looking for number 2, right? The other option that we have in-house, Kyle Pitts, who, yes, he's lined up as a wide receiver more than he's lined up as an inline tight end. Don't know how they're going to approach that with Kyle. I'm looking for Kyle to have a big bounce back season. Clearly that injury that we thought was just an MCL ended up being a PCL as well, which changes everything about that knee injury. That recovery time, how he feels being explosive off of it makes a lot of sense now. So coming back from that this year, I see him having a really big year, especially in this offense that hopefully they can utilize him a little bit better. I still think they'll use him as a tight end as well, but that's just an option that's out there. So looking at a few of the guys that are out there, and we'll start with some of the more expensive guys, okay? Michael Pittman Jr. from the Colts. He's also he's also a Trojan, like Drake. Not that matters at all, but Drake would I'm sure wouldn't mind having him here. Big guy as well, 6'4", 223. He ran a 4.5, and when I was looking at these free agents, I did go back and look at their 40 times, and I know, clearly as they age, that goes down. It's not as big a deal, but I wanted to see how fast these guys were, how fast they are, how quick they are, because you guys know from watching this offense, we had Scotty Miller, but was rarely used. We brought in Van Jefferson to add some speed. He didn't do much. But again, it was just the offense was such a clanky, just very just tough to watch, you know, all around. We have some really good drives here or there, but then there'd just be some that you just, man, what's going on here? So it's tough to really evaluate the receivers based on this offense that we've had. So looking at Michael Pittman now, look, he had a breakout year in 22, 109 catches, 1,152 yards, 4 touchdowns, averaged almost 11 yards per catch. He had 90. I'm sorry, that was 23. He had 99 catches in 22. He's played all 4 years. He's been healthy. He's played 64, 88, 93, and 86% of all the snaps, respectively, in each year. So he's going to be on the field. He's projected by Spotrac to have a $22.7 million a year contract. So you're looking at in the range of what DK Metcalf got, DJ Moore, AJ Brown, those type of guys, and they'll likely extend. The Colts will likely extend him, but that'd be the highest that they've ever paid a receiver. So still don't know on that one yet. And that'd be kind of rich for our taste too, to be honest with you. We've got some other needs we need to address, but it is an option. Again, just throwing these options out there. Trust me, y'all don't need to come at me saying like that's stupid. It's not going to happen. He's too much. I know, I get it. I'm just throwing out there some of the top options maybe, and then we'll get to some of the more cheaper, maybe more realistic options as well. Second guy on the list that I have, and this is in no particular order. These are just the more expensive dudes. T. Higgins, all right, from the Bengals. 3 years in the league. He's kind of hampered by injuries in 23. Ran a 4.59 coming out. He's number 4 on PFF's top free agents this year. He's projected around 18.6 per year, and he could get around. Some team could pay him, in their assessment, could pay him up to $25 million a year to be that team's number 1. It's more than likely because the Bengals are going to have to pay Jamar Chase. They're not going to wrap up their money in a couple of receivers, that much money. So they'll likely put a franchise tag on him, if anything, to keep him around 1 more year. But again, that's an option. He's also a bigger guy. So, you know, depending on what their desire is to have more bigger wide receivers, who knows? We'll see. Next guy up, Gabe Davis, Buffalo Bills. He ran a 4.54, he's 6'3", 212, another bigger guy, right? Very reliable. He's played 15 to 17 games on all of his 4 seasons. He's averaging around 35 to 48 catches per year, looking at a $13.6 million a year projection by Spotrac. And they even estimated he could land somewhere in the range of what Christian Kirk got 4 years for $72 million. Definitely a deep ball threat. We know Josh Allen's, you know, he's been a good target for Josh Allen outside of Diggs. So again, a little rich, maybe not. It just depends on how they want to go about it. You know, none of these top guys, to be honest with you, like, I don't know that I would go spend that money on them. You know, I look at teams like the Green Bay Packers, who's put together a really good core of receivers that are lower draft picks for the most part, you know, but they were able to identify really good talented guys, put them in where they can be successful within their offense. You know, and I kind of see that similar. Maybe we'll have Drake and then we'll have some guys, you know, that can be dudes, you know. That's what I kind of see our offense turning into, but we'll see. Next up, Curtis Samuel. And y'all may remember Curtis from Carolina's days. Obviously, he spent some time, his recent years been with Washington. Excuse me, got my midday coffee going on. So 4 years with the Panthers, 3 with the Commanders. I still say Redskins all the time. Ran a 4.31 out of college, right? Fast as hell. And this will be his 8th NFL season, so clearly that's come down some. Been hampered by injuries a little bit, but these last 2 seasons, he has played 16, 17 games. He was kind of that dual threat too. You could use him out of the backfield, kind of like a poor man's Devo, poor man's CP, that type of thing, right? He only had 4 drops, 85 targets last year. So pretty solid hands. Could be a pretty good wide receiver 3. Don't think they're going to extend or try to sign him back from what I'm reading. That could change. But again, somebody that could be kind of that slot 3rd wide receiver. Like I said, you could throw in the backfield depending on what they do with CP, who knows? We haven't heard anything about that yet. Projected around $11.5 million a year. So a little bit better, right? It's a little bit more attainable. See how he fits in with what they're thinking, but I wouldn't mind that. Next guy, Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown. 4 years in the league. He's 5'9", 180 pounds. Ran a 4.27 at his pro day, which is insane. Also hampered by kind of iffy QB play. And that was kind of the same thing with Samuels as well, right? They had Sam Howell last year, who wasn't a bad quarterback, but different. You know, in the year before, it was a mixture. Carson, well, no, was that Carson Wentz? Might have been. I'm not even sure. But we know Washington's quarterback situation has not been great. So anyway, back to Marquise Brown. He's hampered by some iffy QB play until Kyler got back. He wanted, prior to 2023, he was wanting that Christian Kirk type of deal, a 4-year, $72 million type of deal. But this year, they didn't give him that, and this year probably could have hurt that a little bit because he didn't have a great year statistically. But he's projected to get somewhere in the range of 4 years, $60 million. So still a little bit high. 14.8 projected. Yeah, I don't know. Really good, fast guy, but I don't know. And next, Darnell Mooney from the Chicago Bears. Ran a 4.37. He's 5'11", 175 pounds. Again, on the shorter, a little bit shorter, definitely don't weigh as much. He's projected to get a $10.4 million a year. And Darnell's been anywhere from 31 receptions a year to 81 receptions a year. He had a really good first couple of years in Nagy's offense, and then this last couple of years in Getsy's offense, not so much. And he's had injuries too that's kind of hurt that production over the last couple of years, and that could help. Well, he could help teams that are trying to sign him. It's going to affect his value. So he may be looking as low, either projections 10.4. I've read that could be as low as $6 to $8 million a year. So, do you take a chance at a Darnell Mooney in a better offense for $6 to $8 million? Maybe. I wouldn't be totally mad about it, but we'll see. Next up, KJ Osborne, Minnesota Vikings, 6 foot, 203 pounds. Had to fill in, obviously, when Justin Jefferson went down between him and Jordan Addison. Ran a 4.48. He's anywhere in that range of 48 to 60 receptions a year. Likely projected to get a $7.5 million deal per year. Doesn't look like the Vikings are going to extend him from everything I've read. So he could benefit a lot from what I'm reading. I saw some Vikings games, obviously, when they played us, but he could benefit a lot from going back to the slot, because when JJ went down, he's playing a lot of outside, and maybe that really wasn't fitting his game all that well. Didn't excel to the point that they really wanted him to, but it was also hurt by the fact that Kirk Cousins was missing most of the season. So you're dealing with, backup quarterbacks all year long. So yeah, I wouldn't mind KJ Osborne either. I like KJ. All right, so now more of the, and he's affordable. So $7.5 million definitely affordable. Don't get me wrong. But now these are the very affordable guys that could be possible mentions for us. So let me just start with the guy that was just here, Van Jefferson. Only for this, and you may think I'm like, what? He knew jack shit, and you're right, he didn't do anything. But he did run a 4.39. He is familiar with Raheem, at least from being at the Rams. They know each other pretty well, even though Raheem was on the defensive side of the ball. His best year, he had 50 catches, 6 TDs, on 89 targets. That was 2021. So you're looking at a possible deal for him around $2 million per year, if that. Clearly the offense here did not work for him. Whether it was more on him or on the offense, or getting used to the quarterback play, which again wasn't good. We know that. I'm willing to take a shot on Van Jefferson again in this offense, especially now. Zach Robinson may think differently, and you may say, well, they traded him away, so he obviously wasn't that good. Well, Zach Robinson didn't trade him. He may have had some input, but ultimately that's the head coach, that's the ownership, that's their call, right? The general manager. So we'll see. I don't know. Like I said, with a guy like that, I'm willing to see what he would look like in a better offense, especially for that price. And like I said, already being familiar with Robinson and Raheem, never know. Another guy that we just had, Scotty Miller. We know he's fast. From watching those all-22s, he had several opportunities that were just not given to him. The throws weren't made. He was open. They weren't made. He didn't get that many opportunities, but when he did, he made the most of it. He just wasn't rewarded with a catch or even an opportunity to make a catch, because again, the quarterbacks either couldn't get him the ball or didn't see him standing there wide open or getting wide open, whatever the case may be. But again, but he's got that special teams ability as well. He can possibly, if we need him to, return kicks, return punts. His best year with Brady, not a surprise, in Tampa Bay, 53 targets, 33 receptions, 3 touchdowns, and that was in 2020. So he's looking at a possible $1.4 million, somewhere around there. not a big deal. Again, I wouldn't mind that if you're bringing him in for a slot type receiver. Next up, also from the Rams, DeMarcus Robinson, 4.59 40. He had a 6'3", 200 pounds. Became a really solid 3 last year for the Rams. And that's like, this is like I said, we're looking at more of the slot number 3, 4 type guys, right? So definitely could be a deep threat. He's in the 17 to 45 receptions a year range, depending on where he's at. Last year, he averaged 14 yards per catch, and he had scored 4 touchdowns. Like I said, he came on strong on that back end of the year for the Rams. So he's looking at $1.1 to $1.2 million. Again, has the familiarity with Zach Robinson, with Raheem, so could be an option just for that alone. And I got to mention Kadarius Hodge because, you know, he's been here. He wasn't here when Raheem was here prior, but you know, he could be a cheap deal. We know he's fast. You know, 1 year, $1 million type of. That's what he was just on. He was on a 1 year, $1.2 million. Chances are he's gonna hit the open market. We probably won't bring him back, but he is out there. And an old face possibly. Maybe y'all remember Lamine Zaccheaus? He's a free agent this year from the Eagles. Only 10 receptions really in that offense that was just underperforming to say the least. You know, when he's got to fight for catches with AJ Brown, with, you know, Devonta Smith, with whoever's coming out of the backfield for those guys, you know, Swift and whatnot. So you're looking at 1.5, 2.6 million, somewhere in that range for Zaccheaus. Again, possibly reunites with the team. Who knows? Again, a good slot, 3rd, 4th type of guy. Wait and see. The last guy I have is Braxton Berrios from the Dolphins. And there's a good chance he might go back to the Dolphins. Look, he played his college ball in Miami. He's playing for Miami. I'm sure he's happy being down there. Ran a 4.44, drafted in 2018. He's also a return specialist. So Avery Williams, who we all love, but you know, towards ACL, missed the entire last season, right? We don't know, is he going to be super effective on that? He's got 1 more year left. He'll be a free agent in 2025. So do we, you know, we could still let him come back and return kicks as he was, return punts, whatever. But we don't know. You know, everybody recovers differently. So do you want to bring in a guy like Berrios, or try to bring in a guy like Berrios who can play that role and be the returner and do a really pretty damn good job at it? Very reliable hands, looking at $1.5, $1.7 million a year. Again, very affordable. So, and you know, can do multiple things. So never know. But those are the guys I have. Just like I said, 12 guys just to run through possible targets. And like I said, for our wide receiver too, that could very well be a draft pick. We don't know. You know, there's a lot of good receivers this year in the draft that we'll go through eventually as well. But today I'm just hitting the free agents. So I expect that we'll address the receivers through free agency and through the draft. I'd be shocked if we didn't take somebody in the draft this year. You know, I've seen this all over the board. I've seen us taking an edge rusher at 8, a quarterback at 8, a wide receiver at 8. You know, I've seen us move. I've seen somebody projected us move up and try to move up and even take, you know, Marvin Harrison Jr., you know, and like, then you're like, well, shit, is he your number 1 at that point? So I seriously doubt that'll happen, but hey, you never know, man. Like you never know. But again, you know, it's a room we got to fill full of guys, you know, and I hope regardless of who we add some speed, a combination of veterans and young, you know, rookie youth in there to really just lift that room up, because we have a lot of potential, obviously, with our running backs already. We know we're going to upgrade the quarterback position, almost have to, right? So, you know, we're looking for a really, really good, and Ike Hilliard coming in as wide receivers coach, fantastic. You know, I'm just looking forward to this offense, seeing what we can do. And we got to, like I said, build this room up. So that's it, guys. I wanted to stay under 20 minutes. I'm at 19, it's pretty solid. So I'll probably hit quarterbacks maybe next, possibly edge rushers. One of those two will be coming next. We'll see. I'm not sure yet, but you know, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, don't take anything you know, I said to heart, because, you know, like I said, it's not me making these picks. It's not me making these decisions. Just giving you opinions and giving you an idea of what's out there and what possibly could fit within the salary structure that we have available. And who knows what else is going to happen between now and then. So we'll have to wait and see. But as always, guys, we much appreciate you checking out the video. Again, if you're here, like it, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you get the notifications whenever we go live, whenever we drop new content. And we'll be back again on Thursday with another live show, and look forward to catching y'all then. And if you can't catch a live show, make sure to check the replay, or you can catch us on Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts. We always try to release it that night or the very next day, so you can listen to it while you're at work or whatever you can. So as always, guys, enjoy the rest of your day, night, evening, wherever you're at. Much love. Peace.